things are going to get really rough here. They are, because the fact is human beings were not built for this. Human beings were not built for interminable lockdown. They were not built for social distancing. And as it becomes clear that there is no relief in sight, that there is no therapeutic, that there is no actual vaccine on the way anytime in the near future, that all the talk about, yeah, we're working on all these vaccines and it's going to be the cure-all and all of this, that is speculative at best, really at best. People are going to begin saying, okay, I am young and I am healthy. I'm 40 years old and I have no pre-existing conditions. My chances of death are 7 in 10,000. You know what? I'm going to work. You know what? I'm going to a ball game. You know what? I'm getting back to daily life, because people have a unique capacity to absorb terrible things happening to them in their lives and then move on like nothing is happening. This is a grand shock. There is some good news. The good news is we do know how to protect the nursing homes. We do know how to protect the most vulnerable in our society. And we have the capacity as independent individuals to protect ourselves. If you want to lock down, you can continue to lock down. But as we move forward, the question is going to be why people who are young and healthy should be locking down, and why the government thinks that is a better strategy in the long run. Again, I talked about this yesterday. The big question here is going to be, and this is the question no one has yet answered to my satisfaction, if the area underneath the curve is the same, no matter what you do, but the curve is sharper at the beginning, which means that less economic damage is done in the long run, do you want to take the pain now, or do you want to spread it out over the course of a couple of years if nothing changes? No one has been able to answer this question for me. No one. I'm fully on board with we can't let it spike so much that it overwhelms the healthcare system. I'm there. I got it. We all get it. But again, if the curves have the same area underneath them, if both of them are not spiking over the line in the healthcare system, if you have one curve that looks like this, and you have one curve that looks like this, and the line is the healthcare system, and neither of these curves is going over the healthcare system, the question becomes, which curve do you want? Because curve number 1, right, which is this really heavy bump right here, has the same area underneath it as curve number 2. And curve number 2 means that we shut down the economy basically forever. And curve number 1 means that we take the pain now and then we get back into business. The original flattening the curve situation, the key to the flattening the curve situation was that in this particular graphic, the dark red shade, the kind of maroon shaded area, right? That's the people who would die needlessly because we don't have the ability to care for them. Now, as it turns out, even with the ability to care for people, ventilators didn't help, right? We were afraid of ventilators being in short supply. It turns out that 90% of people on ventilators were dying anyway. But you don't want the healthcare system being overwhelmed, obviously. But take that line out of the graph, because we have not overwhelmed the healthcare system. If you have the choice between two curves, one that is sharper at the beginning but recedes faster, and that lets us all go back to work and back to ball games and back to movie theaters, or one that lasts a really long time and has the exact same number of people who are dead, why would you take the shallower curve? That's the question no one has been able to answer to my satisfaction, or even presented an answer to. I don't want to see models. Honestly, I don't want to see any more models about how many people are going to die by June. I want to see more models as to how many people are going to die by a year from June. Those are the ones that I care about. Why? Because when we are talking about the damage to be done to the American economy, we have to tell how many lives we are actually saving and how many people are just having their deaths delayed by a month or two because we are flattening the curve just a little bit, enough to destroy the economy, but not enough to actually save people's lives over the course of a year. I want to see models that go out a year from now. That's what I want to see. Even with uncertainty effects, I want to see what those models look like. And I want to see what those models look like in the case of controlled avalanche. And I want to see what those models look like when it's no controlled avalanche. It's just people social distancing and wearing masks. How about those models? Why does every model go a month out? We all know if we release fast, more people will die in the short run, but that's not the question. If you cut off the model here and you say that this model is June 2020, and if you go here and this is June 2021, the charts look very different. Okay, the charts look very, very different. If you look like this and the cutoff on your model is June 2020, obviously you want the lower curve, right? Because if you cut off the model right here, what does it look like? That higher curve is a lot of people who are dead, and the lower curve is not as many people who are dead. Now, you move it out to June 2021, the same number of people are dead. The same number. The timeline is what matters here, and no one is honestly discussing the timeline, and that is why, if we are going to honestly discuss policy, we don't need models that go out a month. We need models that go out a year. This is what I've been saying about Sweden the whole time. People ripping on Sweden. Oh, Sweden's really bad because they're taking the hit in the immediate term. Yes, in the immediate term, they are taking the hit. Correct. They're taking the hit in the immediate term, which means they're not taking the hit in the long term.